Alright guys, this is Willie from YouTube, and today's episode is entitled The Simp Ranger. This video was a request from one of my co-workers. He wanted to know what this word I keep mentioning in my videos, the simp. It's harder to describe what a simp is, but it's easier for me to describe his actions. You see, a simp is going to do a lot of things for women for the possibility of goal. Most guys' main goals are to get sex in the end. Some men have to work harder than others to get to the end goal, but that usually is the end goal. Now, for the simp, most guys will tell that simp that there is no way that you're going to get to the end goal with that woman. And that woman is pretty much just using you until you get tired and move on to somebody else. But the simp doesn't recognize that. And that's why they called him the simp. The man that puts the woman on the pedestal doesn't realize that he's not going to get anything in the end. So let's go into the first simp. I call this simp the phone simp. And you'll see the conversation usually starts off by the woman saying, "Hi, my phone is about to be cut off, and I need someone to pay for it to keep it on, so I can do all my day-to-day stuff and I get important phone calls." Da 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 da! Simp man to the rescue. The simp man will go and take that girl to the phone company and pay for the phone bill. But you'll realize that whenever the simp calls the girl, she never answers the phone call. And one of these times, if you ever see her phone and the simp decides to call it, the simp will notice that his name is not even on it. It'll probably just remain in just the simple digits. He doesn't even get a phone on his contact. You don't hear from her until another 29 days has elapsed, and once again she is calling for the phone simp. And this costs you time. You buy her a phone, you put her on your line, and you can't even get her on the phone. The next simp is the bar simp. Now this is the guy at the bar. The girl comes up to the guy and says, "Can you buy me a drink?" And the guy says, "Of course I'll buy you a drink," because that's the entry level to getting the girl a drink, to chit chat. As soon as the guy buys the girl a drink, all the other friends start to show up and say, "Oh, they'll need drinks too." And the bar simp doesn't want to make the girl that she's trying to get mad, so he buys all the other girls a drink, and as soon as the drink dries up, so does the pussy dries up, and she leaves with her friends. She's gonna leave with some other guy that she's been eyeing out that's gonna blow her back out that night. The next simp is the school fees administrator simp. Now the conversation usually goes like this. The girl will say, "Oh, my school fees are up and I'm about to get kicked out if I don't pay my last bill. I need someone to come and help me." Da 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 da! Admin Simp to the rescue. He takes over, he goes down to the school, and he pays for the school fees. As soon as he pays for school fees, the girl kisses her on the cheek and then disappears. You don't hear from that girl for another 3-4 months, and she has that same story. And if you go to the same school, she may even avoid you, take opposite ways so you don't have to run into you. So then you never ask her for the money back if you try to. The next simp is the landlord simp. Now I'm guilty, myself. I've been simping all my days. So some of these, you don't even ask me if I've been doing some of this because I've been doing some of this. So you gotta watch out some of these simps. Da-da-da-da.
I'm homeless. My boyfriend just kicked me out, and I need a place to stay. Please come and help me.
And you don't. It's like minus 20 degrees out there Celsius, or I guess for our Americans, it's 0 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and she's calling you on the phone. She needs a place to stay. You're trying to do the best you can, so you put her in one of your extra rooms or extra apartments until she gets everything sorted out. And then, or you may even let her move in with you. And of course, she's not gonna cook, clean. The reason why the boyfriend kicked her out, you're gonna find out the same reason. But it's most likely that she didn't cook, clean, and she did not suck any dick. So you're now gonna be left with her, and then you're gonna try and kick her out for the same reason. The next simp is the stepdad simp. And this is how it's gonna go. She's gonna call you and she's gonna say,
hello, my son or, my daughter, she needs someone to help her, someone to mentor, someone to help her take her to practices. I'm tired of this deadbeat dad, never wants to show up for her, never wants to come and help her.
Da-da-da-da! This is when the deadbeat stepdad simp comes to the rescue and says, oh, don't worry, I'll take your son and daughter to all of the basketball games, I'll make sure he has all of his equipment, and I'll make sure that he gets his uniform, and I'll take him to all of those practices, and I'll make sure that, he makes it to every meeting. And then this one's a little different because you don't realize that you're the stepdad simp until many years later when the daughter or the son, he gets drafted to the NBA, he gets drafted to the NCAA or the NFL or the CFL. And the daughter and the mother, he comes up to the stand, to the pulpit, and he says his thank yous. And the first thing out of his mouth is always, I'd like to thank my mom and God, and he'll thank everybody else except for you. But you were the one taking them out to all of the practices, paying for all the uniforms, paying for all of the equipment. But you never get mentioned, or you're the last person to get mentioned. But everybody else is being thanked. Now you can see this a lot. The latest example would be Zion Williamson. He gets drafted to the NBA. Everybody thought he was going to be the next Michael Jordan. He gets up to the pulpit and he thanks everybody else except for the guy that took him to all the practices. You see, being a stepdad is a thankless job. That's why a lot of guys don't want to be the stepdad, don't want to be the cleanup man, because they never get the thank yous in the end. It's always the mother who never took the son to practice, never took, to any of the programs, never paid for any of the equipment. It was all on your dime, on your time. Sorry, I had to go in deep with this one because I see this all the time. The next simp is the utility simp. You'll get a phone call, from her, and she'll say,
oh, my utilities is getting cut off. Someone please come and help me and put the utility back on. I need to pay this deposit so that they can keep it on.
So, utility simp to the rescue. Dun, 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 dun. You go over there and you meet with the utility man and you pay the deposit over the phone, and of course this girl will never invite you back after she lets you meet with the utility man to make sure that someone is there 18 years older to turn utility back on while she's over at the boyfriend's house, getting her getting her back blown out, getting her bladder infected. But you never get invited over to her house after you pay the bill and meet with the utility man. So that's why you need to respond if she calls you back, 3-4 months later when they cut the utilities off and she never calls you to come over to her house. You should just leave her alone, because most likely the boyfriend is probably on the couch inside the house, the deadbeat boyfriend, not paying any of the utilities. But here you are paying all the utilities, but you never get invited over. The next simp is the bodyguard simp. Now, I talked about this bodyguard simp in one of my videos when I was collecting rent, and the girl didn't have the rent and she got somebody else to come and try and fight me. But in the end, the boyfriend, he went to jail, and that girl was on somebody else's dick that night. Bodyguard to the simp. She'll call you and say that so-and-so came to attack her, and she needs somebody to come and fight him. She don't want to fight her own battles, even though she's in the wrong. The bodyguard simp goes over there and fights the guy. He goes to jail, and that girl probably won't even send any commissary to the guy or even think about him, because he'll probably be gone for a couple months, so he doesn't care about him anymore. And that same night, some other guy sleeping on that bed. Oh man, the next simp is Mr. Uber Simp. Now, I've been guilty of this too. I've been guilty of this Mr. Uber Simp. So, if some of y'all feel bad about some of these simps, don't worry, I've been guilty of some of them. Mr. Uber Simp. Dun, 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 dun. This guy comes to the rescue when the girl is stranded, or a car breaks down and needs the tire to be changed, needs her car to be repaired. Of course, on your time, on your own dime, of course. Or sometimes she may just need a ride from one boyfriend to the next boyfriend. So she'll probably call you to take you over to her girlfriend's house, which is really one boyfriend's house to the next boyfriend's house. Oh man, and you'll find out that one of these days you'll slip up, or you'll pick her up from one of the locations, and the guy comes out through the door and tells her that he had a wonderful time. And you ask her, I thought I was dropping you off to your girlfriend's place. Oh no, that's just the brother. That's just the cousin. Or that's just the uncle. Oh no, that's just the bestie. When really, she was over there getting her back blown out and getting her bladder infection on. Oh man, the next one is the Mr. Fix-It Simp. This is a guy that she'll call whenever there's a leak in the house, the toilet needs to be repaired, she needs something get hung on the wall. Da-da-da-da, Mr. Fix-It Simp comes to the rescue. This is a guy, he's trying to do all the handyman stuff. He gets in the house, he thinks he's gonna get something. He thinks he's gonna be the milkman, he's gonna be the pizza man, he thinks he's gonna be the plumber, and in his mind he thinks he's gonna get some. But no, he's just there for that momentarily and then sent on her way. Mr. Fix-It Man may even come in the house and find the no good deadbeat guy laying on the couch, probably eating his popcorn, and he probably has the nerve of saying that, he's late, trying to bad talk about you and not doing the job right. But yet he's on the couch, laying on there, not doing nothing. The next simp is the babysitter simp. This is the guy, the girl wants to go out and have a party, girls' night out, and of course, you get that phone call around midnight. You think it's a booty call, but no, it's not a booty call. She calls you and says, I need a babysitter to watch my kids while I'm gone. And as soon as I'm all done, I'm sure I'm going to give you something. Give you something to make up for it.
you know, you're thinking about money, or you're thinking of, you know, your booty or something, you know. But of course, none of that's gonna happen when she comes back. She's gonna be all drunk, inebriated. You know, the girlfriend's gonna come in and, you know, walk her to the house, and then they'll tell you you can go now, and then they'll watch the kids. You call the next morning and no response. You leave a message, she won't call back. You were just there to take care of the kids so she can go and dot it up at the club and get her back blown out by some other guy at the club. The next simp is the co-signer simp. Now this is the guy, this is the most expensive, probably. This is the one you really should watch out for. If you ever have to co-sign for someone, you know, and you're not related to them, or there's no work history, all of a sudden that girl calls you out of the blue that you went out a couple months ago and she asks that she needs a co-signer, please say no and walk away from this one. All the other, you know, the simp adventures, all those other simp, those didn't cost you that much, or it may have been free, but this one's gonna cost you a lot, the co-signer simp, because this is the one that, of course, she's not gonna pay for the bill, whatever it is, the car, house, note, whatever it is. You're gonna be on the hook. Insurance, whatever it is. This is the worst one. So if a girl ever calls you and asks you to be a co-signer and it's not your wife, or she has never put out for you, please run the other way. The next one is the meal ticket simp. Now I fell for this one too, because a lot of time when you go on these dating sites and you want to take the girl out, it's always, you know, take the girl out, and you don't know that the girl is going on 50 first dates and getting free meals from a whole bunch of guys that she's going out with on those dating websites for free, and of course on your time, on your own dime. I would say, you know, if she's doing the 90-day rule, I also have a video. It's called The Threshold, and it puts you know, a limit on how much you should actually spend and how far you should go before you get yours. Because really, you don't want to be suckered into these 50 first dates, and then as soon as you get to the 90-day rule and day 89, she drops you and ghosts you, and you can never get her on the phone again. You gotta stop it before you even get to that point. You gotta set a limit, and once she passes that limit and she doesn't put out, forget her. You need to leave her alone. And now, this one is gonna be a surprise bonus for all you simps out there who think you're the only simp. Did you know that you're not the only simp that's being played by the girl? That they are something called the beta male orbiter simp. This is when you find out that you're not the only simp that she's been playing around with. And one way that I found out about this one is, I was with the girl, you know, seen her a couple of times. You know, after, you know, we got down to business, she was asking if we could go out to go and get something to eat at 2 a.m. in the morning. I said, 2 a.m. in the morning, man? It's crazy, man. You know, we just had the Laffy Taffy. I'm all tired. You know, you get tired after doing that. Of course, you get tired after doing that. So the last thing you want to do is, you know, drive halfway around town to go and get her some Nova and some chicken and wings. This is what happened. After I told her no, you know what she did? She went in the washroom and called Bill, Chuck, and Larry to come and bring her some of La Nova and pizza. Now, I wasn't the simp at that time, but she had other beta male orbiters at her beck and call that she could call so she can get something to eat. That beta male came by, you know, dropped off the food, and, you know, of course she probably told her, oh, you know, I'll make it up for you in the morning when I wake up, but right now I gotta go back upstairs and take care of my child. So there she was, you know, eating her chicken and wings right in front of me. And of course I was salivating, but then I learned something, that you are not the only one in the picture. Go ahead and misbehave, and she got another you in a minute, as Beyonce would say. He'll be here in a minute, as Beyonce would like to say.
Don't you ever get a thinking that you're irreplaceable. There you go, guys. That is the Simp Chronicles. This was from YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you and bye-bye.